Adam Taxin talking with Daniel Greenfield about his Sunday, August 19th, 2012 column, The Mirage of Moderate Islam. Daniel, welcome, and as I often ask you at the beginning of the column, can you explain your title a little bit?
Well, the mirage is what happens when you're walking through the desert. You're walking through the desert, you're running out of water and food, you're tired, and you're hoping that there's salvation somewhere, and you get up to the sand dune and you look, oh my goodness, it's an oasis. There's a party going on there. There are palm trees and music and lots of cool water. And this is what happens when you really want something. You're really fastened on the idea that this is going to be your salvation. And so your eyes play tricks on you and you see it. And we've had that same situation with Islam where there's a vast desert of Islamic terrorism and the actual Islam, which is not moderate in the least, and Western elites and really even the average American or European wants to see the mirage. He wants to see that Islam is perfectly nice and something we can perfectly well get along, so they see this mirage.
Is there a psychological explanation you can put in, something a little deeper than just they want to see only pleasant things?
Well, that is the core psychological explanation. People are driven to survive, and you can survive in different ways. You can survive by actually fighting for survival, or you can let your mind deceive you into thinking that this is the means to survival, that everything's going to be fine. These are the two reactions that take place in a crisis. The first reaction is, I have to deal with the crisis. The second reaction is, let me go stick my hand in this nice sand and imagine that everything's fine. And both of those are coping mechanisms. Both of those are ways of trying to exert control over a situation, but obviously one is an effective way of exerting control over a situation, the second is delusional.
And you make a good point later, late in the column, actually not that late in the column, that Islam predates the political movements such as communism and Nazism that arose to fill a vacuum of faith in a secularizing West with dreams of racial and economic utopias. So, is Islam stronger in part because of the loss of faith in Western civilization, for the most part, or for a significant part of it?
It's devastatingly stronger because of that, because first of all, there's no more sense of exclusivity. People say, well, Islam is a religion of peace because all religion is good, and they actually do believe this, or they believe all religion is bad. They have this polar idea because they don't really believe in religion. If you believe certainly in a monotheistic religion, then you believe that one religion has a particular set of answers and the others don't. But if you believe that, if you're fairly secular, and most people really in the West are, they believe in God to some extent, but they don't really believe in a religion. They don't have a religion, really, though they may occasionally go to church. And if they don't believe in that exclusivity, then all religion is good. I'm a Methodist, so I believe that really all religion is good because all religions are basically the same. I may happen to go to a Methodist church, but really Methodism is not all that different than Islam. It's not all that different than Judaism. All these same religions bring the same message, that we should be nice to one another and be responsible and sing happy songs. And if you believe that, if you think of religion in those terms, then you have no real immunity against Islam.
And even so, I guess some religions are better about that than others.
Well, the more traditional are more likely to believe that there's a certain amount of exclusivity. The less traditional religions are more likely to have this fuzzy idea that all religion is basically the same, so it doesn't really matter which one you have, except if you like the songs in this one better, then you join that one.
Right. One particular sentence that stood out to me was, in the face of this understanding, any talk of a modern Islam is nothing but a farce. To Muslims, Islam is what the 1,000-year Reich was to Nazis, and a united world is to socialists. A perfect form of global unity that must be achieved at any cost. So essentially they're saying there's no hope for dealing with real Muslims or even moderate Muslims, basically secular Muslims, which effectively aren't even Muslims.
Well, to do that you have to secularize Islam. Now, what does secularism mean? Obviously it means that you no longer completely rely on religion for your idea of the world. So people like that, a secular Muslim, might actually think that there might be political solutions rather than Islamic solutions. But for somebody who is truly a Muslim, then the solution is in terms of Islam. So the solution to the world's problems is Islam. So if a Muslim looks at any social problem, he thinks, well, this is due to a shortage of Islam. And the solution solution is bring in more Islam, which is what we're seeing in the Middle East.
Yeah. So the final conclusion one can get from your column is get your head out of the sand, wake up. Islam, if it's at all authentic Islam, is not peaceful. Is that the fair message to take away from your column?
That's exactly it.
Daniel Greenfield, thank you for your time.